Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wales Comic Con Live. We're raising funds for Mind, the charity helping us to better mental health. I'm Dr. Rhys Jones, and today I'm in conversation with the one, the only, Caterine Tate. Caterine, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
I know, it's so good to see you. Actually, do you know, we met last, it was a year ago, and of course that was face-to-face then, at Telford, but a year ago. Where has a year gone?
Telford, which I'm still not sure, is that in Wales or not?
It used to be in Wales. It used to be in Wales, and the map was redrawn. It's now in England. Oh, there we go.
What do you mean it used to be in Wales? They moved.
Well, it used to. Wales used to be a lot bigger, and then slowly over time, it's eroded. The east coast of Wales has eroded. It has.
Yikes.
Oh, so I just wanted to say, first of all, after meeting you, because I met you for the first time last year, I was really nervous of meeting you. And what I found lovely, and I know a lot of the fans will probably wonder what you're like in real life, and I just want to say, you were so lovely. You were so genuinely kind, and you were so down to earth. I think we were all taken aback, really.
Taken aback.
No, but you had so much time. You had so much time for all your fans. Because I remember we were walking you through to the stage, and there were so many people, obviously wanted to get photographs, can you sign, can you do that? And you stopped for every single one. There were no complaints or nothing. You kind of looked as if you loved the interaction with your fans. It's
great. It really is. I was just saying actually to someone who I was doing a chat with that, you know, I've not been doing cons very long.
Mm.
Maybe I've been doing them about 4 years. I think I've done 3 or 4 years worth. But you realise that they start to slightly punctuate things, you know, and you realise, you know, you do a few a year and you look forward to them, and it's the travelling that you miss and the meeting people and the interaction. But then I think why it's so compounded this particular time of not doing cons is all interaction has been ended, hasn't it? And you realise, you look back to what we were all doing a year ago, shaking hands, hugging each other and being very close. You know, it's just like another world now, isn't it? How have you doing that?
Well, exactly. You know, I mean, I remember I was hosting you at that event at Telford, as you can remember. And I remember saying to you, I'm always polite with the people I host. I always say to you, can I call you this? Are we okay to go on stage? Are you happy with me doing this? And I remember you just turning to me saying, I really just want to do this on my own. I don't want to host. I just really want to take the bull by the horns and get out there and do this. And I loved that because it was really genuine. It was obvious that you really, really wanted to engage directly with your audience. You didn't want to host, sort of interact. You just wanted to get out there, meet them and do that.
I do prefer that. I think it's probably because I've got a background in stand-up, so I love working with a crowd and I love interacting, and I'm happy to do it. It also, as I said to you earlier, you know, I don't really. I choose not to have a moderator most of the time when it's live, simply because, and I know this is awful, but it's a bit less fun for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Only in terms of you can run in and run out, and sometimes, you know, especially in the American cons, I might have done it in Wales or Telford, I can't remember, but I like to get people up on stage and, you know, and then do a lightning round at the end when there's not enough time, and it's just fun, you know. I think John Barrowman and I are pushing more and more to make our panels more like Vegas shows.
I think the fans love that. They love that interaction. You know, you're just there.
I mean, it's also, I have to say, Rhys, sorry to interrupt you. It is also, though, as I said, that if I haven't got a moderator, I haven't got to answer any terribly difficult questions about sci-fi that I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm going to be kind today. Don't worry. I'm going to be. I promise you. How have you? I mean, you're doing a Zoom and online engagement now. How have you sort of adapted to the online engagement? Because, you know, this is a very sterile environment. It can be a very lonely environment.
It is. I mean, well, yes. Luckily, I've not been lonely or anything like that, and I think that's a huge issue that's been thrown up this past year. I mean, it's horrendous for people that are you know, isolating or stuck on their own. And thank goodness for technology for that very reason. I think we've all become so much more grateful, I think, to technology, but yeah, you have to adapt. You realize that I was flying halfway around the world for meetings I could have had on Zoom.
Absolutely.
I do think the workplace will change an awful lot, won't it? We've just
Oh
adapted
yeah.
to a completely different, way of thinking. But luckily, everything that I do, mostly what I've done this year is write and edit, which luckily you can obviously do on a computer. It's much nicer to do it in person. But luckily, I'm fortunate in the position that I am able to work from a computer. That part of the job, obviously you can't. Well, I suppose I'd say you can't film stuff on a computer, but obviously, of course, we can. But I think at some point we will want to get back to seeing stuff that isn't shot over an iPhone. But thank goodness that people have adapted in the way they have in such an incredibly creative way.
Could you imagine if this pandemic had happened 10 years ago? I just cannot imagine how we would have.
Or before that, less. It would have been a very, very different. It would have been a very different landscape,
My one worry now, of course, is the dogs are never going to allow us to get off Zoom again because they're quite happy that we're home all day, and we're never going to be allowed to go back to work. Dogs are not going to allow us.
No, it's true. It's true. I've really, and it's the knock-on effect that I realise that, my dog sitter has had much less work off me because
Yeah.
I'm home. I'm here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
It is,
I love it, don't they? Yeah.
it's brilliant. Make a cup of tea when you want to. Do some ironing because you've got half an hour. It's great. I can do it all. It's great.
Yeah, I know. I do love going. I do love going to my office, though. I do love it. And when the restrictions were changed during the summer, it was. And we went back into the office, and luckily enough, we are able to socially distance in the office. But, oh gosh, I loved it. I really relished having had all those months of being inside. Just that bit of normality. It was just a bit of human contact. It was adult conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's the thing with you, because I was surprised when I met you, because you've got, obviously, with all your stand-up work and the acting and everything else that you do, the cheekiness of Nan, and we've got, you could easily be mistaken for being a real extrovert, but actually you came over as quite shy to me.
I think I saw, I don't know if you saw, there was an interview with Dawn French the other day, and she said she was, and I'd never heard this expression before, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if a lot of comedians are like this. She called herself a functioning introvert.
Wow.
And I thought, what an incredible expression.
Yeah.
And description. And I thought, and my ears sort of pricked up, and I thought, oh, that's what it is. Yeah, that's why, it's funny. Some people I've spoken to have actually said, that the pandemic has sort of tapped into parts of them that, there were certain parts of the pandemic that were okay for them. So I don't mind not going out for quite a long period of time. I'm okay. I am okay with my own cut. I mean, I'm not on my own at all, but I'm okay to not socialize a lot. I like it, and then I love it when it happens. But no, I'm not a pack animal.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a pack animal. I am alone. I'm a loner.
I wanted to pick up on something you said then, because you called yourself a comedian, and for me,
well, I mean, I don't define myself with that, but I just think it's hard to, I make people laugh, and I love to make people laugh, and I would consider myself having a facility to make people laugh, but then I don't consider the word comedian to be a dirty or to be in any way anything less than anything else. Anything else. But I know people can go, you're a comedian. They go, you're not a comedian. You're an actor. You're an actor or a comedian. It's like it's really all part of the same thing.
And it's becoming really difficult to define you, because obviously historically everybody knows you as a comedian, and you're hugely gifted as a comedian, and yet now you're also hugely in demand as an actor, and straight roles, not comedic roles.
Yeah, I mean, but the funny thing is, I was an actor before I was a comedian. You know, I was in theatre
Of
before
course.
anyone knew who I
Yeah,
was. So that's why it's all interlinked. You know what I mean? And you know, when I was at drama school, um, that yeah, it's all the same, really. I think.
absolutely. Oh, we couldn't have an interview with you without mentioning, obviously, the Caterine Tate show, which was just amazing. And even if you've never watched that even if you've never watched it, if you've been on Mars or something, I think anybody that had watched the show, or even people that hadn't, they know the characters. I think what was so amazing for me was that everybody could laugh at it because everybody recognized those characters. They recognized them from their office, their workplace, their ride to work, even within their own families. You were recognizing people. It was almost as if you sort of held up a mirror to real life, and we could all just have a laugh at the people in a nice way. We could all have a laugh at the people in our everyday lives. And I wondered how on earth did you come about to think about doing that? And also, how did you come up with the characters?
I honestly, my honest answer is necessity. I was lucky enough to be given a show, and you have to come up with characters. So a lot of them, you know, there was no. I mean, some people, you know, are some people I know and or have seen, or as you say, you know, see on a bus and something like that. But it was just I think it was a childhood of collecting memories and collecting characters, and or just words that stayed in my head, or scenarios that stayed in my head, or sometimes just hairstyles that stayed in my head. You know, sometimes you go, because people, I've said this many times before, but the trick to sort of stealing someone's character is to change the physical aspect of them. So because people, we don't recognize, we all tend to recognize ourselves physically,
Mhm.
you know. So if you know if I see someone, I think, oh, I could absolutely do them. As long as I make them physically not look like themselves, they don't recognize themselves, you know. And I've had that verified to me time and time and time and time again, because I've got a character who is delighted at everything and is even the banana. She's like, you won't believe what's happened to me today. You won't believe it. I can't believe it. And she's like that. And she, in my show, she has dark long hair. The character in real life has short blonde hair, does not recognize herself. And when my show first came out, she rang me and she went, you won't believe what I've seen on TV. You've only got a TV show.
Oh, it's
And
amazing.
it's so extraordinary. It's so extraordinary. And then bizarrely, someone else who it's just fascinating to me, the way we recognize ourselves or don't recognize ourselves.
And so these are real people that you've taken.
Some of them are, and some of them is
Yeah.
just an idea, you know, that you think, you know, like like my nan character, that isn't based on my nan, but it is snippets of definite old ladies I knew growing up, you know, and definitely some of the things she says I have definitely heard said. I am saying verbatim things that I have heard.
So so you obviously got the catchphrases as well. And
Yeah.
where have they come up from? Is that something you've heard, or is something that's just come
No, I think the thing about catchphrases are you can't really write a catchphrase. A catchphrase is bestowed upon you by people remembering it and saying it back to you. So at
yeah.
no point did I ever think, am I bothered, was going to catch on. And so I'd only said it once as the character. It was just that when we started doing the live shows before before it got recorded on TV, because I always think with comedy you must try out your material in front of an audience. I didn't want to go on TV for the first time and see if it was funny. You know, you have to test stuff out. And when we tested it out, no one knew who I was, and I just came out and said, am I bothered? But am I bothered though? And the audience in the room picked up on it. And because they picked up on it, and because I'm such a comedy tart, I started milking it a bit, and I repeated it, and I was like, well, am I bothered? But look at my face. Is my face bothered? But do you think I'm bothered? And I could hear as I was saying it, they were laughing more. And because it was a tiny little theatre we were doing these tryouts in, at the end of the night, as people were going out, we were in the dressing room and we could hear people walking out, and they were going, "That was funny, wasn't it? Am I bothered? Am I bothered?" I thought, and that's when the producer said to me, "You have to make a thing of that, because that will, it's tried and tested and it's come back to you, you know." And it's really strange. But that was the only one that came through repetition. The Nan, like the sweary ones, people just picked up on that. It didn't even occur to me I was saying it more than once, you know. But it is that thing. If you were to sit down and try to write a catchphrase, it would be just too arch, and it's other people pick up on it and give it back to you. You know, that's definitely what I think anyway.
Do you know what I love is I'm listening to you sort of reminiscing about this, and when, you know, the first time you realised that people were catching on with the catchphrases and whatnot, and you seem surprised at the success of the characters, and that's lovely.
Yes, oh, I'm always doing that. I mean, the thing is, it's because you don't walk around thinking. I remember Matt Lucas saying this, and it's so true. He said, "You don't walk around thinking I'm that person off the TV." So it doesn't occur to me that people would recognise me, and then I realised, oh yeah, maybe you have seen, yeah, you know. But no, and it's not a false modesty kind of thing. It's just general lack of curiosity about what my own product, you know, what my own body of work has done. And I think also because I'm not on social media, I'm not aware of any of it. And especially with the Doctor Who stuff, I had no idea anyone would have ever remembered the Donna character, or it would have had any impact on anyone. And it was funny enough, it was because why I just sort of completely disassociated from it was that as I was starting, I'd done the Runaway Bride, and as I was about to start the filming of the series that I was in, I can't remember what series it was, sorry, I don't know. my turn as the companion. A journalist said to me, "What do you think about the fact that the fans all hate you?" Right?
Wow.
And I was literally like that. I mean, I was about to start my 9 months filming of Doctor Who, and I was like, don't know. That's a shame. And so I filmed the whole lot of Doctor Who thinking, oh, these fans are. He was like, yeah, everyone doesn't like you because you're a comedian and you've come from your own show, and they all think you're going to ruin it. And so I did my time in Doctor Who, loved it, was really sad, thinking, oh God, no one's going to like this, and genuinely didn't think a thing about it. I didn't think a thing about it. I sort of almost blocked it out, you know, that I'd done it. Beyond the fact that I had got this great friendship with David going. But yeah, it was an extraordinary thing to say to someone about to embark on doing a whole series. Yeah, none of the fans like you. And that's what I sort of thought. So then when John said, why don't you, oh no, it was David actually had said to me for years, he'd said, why don't you do the conventions? And I was like, don't be ridiculous, what they want to see me for? And he was always saying to me, no, you must go, you must do it. And then John eventually said, come and do one. And I was like, John, A, they don't like me, and B, it was so long ago, who the hell's going to remember that character? And he said to me, come and do one.
Yeah.
Come and do one. And I remember I went and did one in Dallas, and that was my first convention, and I was just couldn't believe it. I mean, you kind of I get enough people come up to me and go, oh, I really loved you in that, to kind of feel, oh, it wasn't everyone. But I get it that, you know, people have a lot of ownership over Doctor Who, you know, and I get it. But it's really, that's why I was completely bowled over by the reception with the fans, because I genuinely didn't think there was a fan base for me in that. I was astonished, genuinely, with my hand on my heart, astonished, because I really thought, oh God, I'm the one they think came and ruined it.
It's incredible, isn't it, how one voice can have such an impact.
Well, it really does. And I thought it was a really, it was kind of like sort of a joke, as if, well, you can take a joke, but yeah, no one. And it was like, oh, but it was like a heavy heart. I filmed that series with a heavy heart.
absolutely awful. Well, to put the record straight, everyone loves you. I can remember at Telford, it was people were buzzing that you were there.
Oh,
It,
well, I'm delighted. And I honestly, I don't say that to fish for chips or anything like that. It was just to say it's why it's been such an incredible experience for me to engage with the fandom of Doctor Who, is because I just didn't think I had a place in it, you know, and didn't question it, because, you know, it's like, look, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. But it's so funny the way people, it's funny. I always think it's strange the way people want to tell you they don't like you.
No,
I'm fascinated with that as well. I sometimes think I find that fascinating, because what do you do with that? What do you do with it?
I think, you know, as you said, you know, people have great ownership over Doctor Who, but I think once you're in Doctor Who, that's it. You're part of the legacy anyway. If they liked you or didn't like you,
yes, yeah.
I mean, you and David on screen, the chemistry was utterly incredible. You remember the scene when you were looking through the round glass window through the door, and you're talking to David, and he's out the other window, isn't he? He's on the platform, and you're mouthing, you're going, "Oh God, no!" That was hysterical. I mean, the chemistry between you both was utterly brilliant.
Oh, that's good. And we improvised that. That was improvised.
It was, you could see it. You know, it had to be something like that, because it was just such incredible chemistry. It was just fantastic.
Yeah. And I suspect they used the first take as well, because it just sort of happened, and it was, and I remember it was probably about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, because that episode only took place at night.
Right.
That was the adipose episode, and it was shot entirely at night. Russell wanted everything in that episode to be shot at night, which means, you know, in the winter you're shooting between like probably 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Wow. Okay, that's quite incredible. So we should say, obviously, you play Donna Noble. We should say that, actually, you know, companions. I wanted to know when you know, when did you know David beforehand, or did you meet him through Doctor Who? How did that happen?
No, I didn't know Dave. I met him through Doctor Who. Yeah, I didn't know David at all. Well, funnily enough, our paths had crossed, but we didn't know each other at the time. That we were both. I suspect it was probably when we came out of drama college, different drama colleges, quite early on. We were both at a play we were both doing plays at the National Theatre, but because in the National Theatre they do their plays in repertory.
Yeah.
His play was on in the same theatre mine was on, but in the days when mine wasn't on. So we were working in the same place, working on the same stage, but never on the same day. So actually our paths never crossed.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he would work Monday to Wednesday and I would work Thursday to Saturday, or, you know, that kind of thing. But I do remember going to see him in it. He was in What the Butler Saw, and I was in a show called The Way of the World. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So
and then he walked past me at the BAFTA in a kilt, and I wanted to go, "Oh, hi, I think you're good," but he looked like he was going somewhere. So.
With your character Donna, I wanted to know how much of you is in that character.
Well, I've never time travelled, so that part of Donna is purely
not Time Lord.
I don't know. Not that much, I don't think, because I'm not that rude to people. I'm not that forthright. I don't have that confidence, the sort of brassiness that she has. I don't have. But that's why it was fantastic to play a part like that. But then, of course, I think we all, and that's why I think Donna does touch people, is that there is that definite thing that runs through all of us, is that I'm not good enough, you know, and that she didn't ever think she was good enough. But lots of people always ask this, and it's like, how much did you improvise? And it's like, when you are lucky enough to play a character written by someone as brilliant as Russell, you don't need to improvise a single moment, because everything is written. Everything is written. We didn't improvise anything on Doctor Who because we didn't need to. You know, so everything she says, every tiny little thing, I was able to give life to it, but it was all on the page.
Amazing. And of course, you mentioned Russell T. Then, of course, Davis, and you know, he clearly said you're an equal to the Doctor, a friend to make the challenge. And I mean, that's extraordinary.
No, that was, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, lovely. And it was, of course, a joy to have never worked with David, and then we just clicked.
Yeah.
And there was no chemistry things or anything like that, which often you do. It just kind of, I suppose partly is because really I was only coming in first of all for a one-off, you know what I mean? It was just a bit of fun, you know. So I remember my jaw absolutely dropping when Julie Gardner took me out to lunch and said, "We'd like you. What would you think about being the companion?"
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
And what was it like then going to, I mean, you became at one point the most important woman in the universe, you know, when you're fighting. I love that. The technobabble there. How long did it take you to learn that? I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was good fun. Well, the way I hooked into it was because I was doing the technobabble because I was part Doctor, and the Doctor I was part of was David's Doctor. So I kind of had it in my head the way he would do it. And so that gave me a link into remembering it. But yeah, it was absolutely like obviously a different language to me, especially from someone who I've always fully declared this. You know, I didn't know the Doctor Who. I mean, I remembered it from being a kid, but it wasn't my kind of thing. And you know, I wasn't familiar with it, and I'd always be saying to David, because of course we would always get the episodes, and we read the episodes. I remember we used to read the episodes after filming every Thursday, and all the new cast would come in and we'd read the episode and then we'd go home for the next week. And but of course you shoot out of sequence, and I you know, no matter how many times I'd read the episode, I still had no idea what was ever going on. And I was always like with David, what's happening now? What's this mean? Who is it? Who's chasing us? But of course, David, on the other hand, a lifelong Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Which must have been an incredible thing to not, because I remember him saying he was just wanted a gig on the show, would have happily just been in the show as anything. And then Casanova came along, and there we go.
Yeah, well, we sure are glad he did take up the Doctor Who role. I mean, what an incredible Doctor Who. But there was a time when, seriously, you were in the running to become Doctor Who. I'm sure. I can remember your name being thrown about all over the place.
I think names get thrown about all over the place anyway, don't they?
I would love to have seen you as Doctor Who. I think you would have been superb. I think you really would have. I wanted to give you an opportunity. What was your favourite scene or your most memorable scene for you shooting in Doctor Who?
Well, I would say definitely one of the ones that sticks out is I don't know. I'm going to say Voyage of the Damned. No, I wasn't in that. That was Kylie. Was that? See, this is the thing. I remember the wrong pieces of information.
Oh, don't worry.
The penultimate and the last episode that I was in, something about voyage somewhere, lost universe, something. Anyway, the one where we all got on the TARDIS, and it's where I met John.
Yeah.
I'd met Billy before on Turn Left, and I'd met Freema before, but then we were all together.
Yeah, well, it was
the time when I also met wonderful Elizabeth, Sarah Jane, and that is my really enduring memory. Is her. She was so exquisite. She was just so luminous and wonderful, and was absolutely, I mean, talk about someone in their second act, you know, she never thought she was going to get that knock on the door again.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, amazing.
You can never say never in Doctor Who, which is, you know, I was going to ask you, I'm very conscious of how you exited the programme, but do you ever think your character could maybe return to Doctor Who?
I suppose, you know, in the sense that it's sci-fi and it seems to be there's no bloody rules at all. You can just write whatever you like. Suddenly, oh, it's okay. Hold on. If I meet the doctor again, isn't my head going to explode? No, it's all right. Take this magic pill. You're all right now. You just walked into the window of fuzz. So that's okay. You know, you can literally make it up. She's walked through the window of fuzz. So now her brain's okay. I mean, in theory, I suppose anything can happen in sci-fi. For me, I kind of feel I don't know if I could. I don't know what else there is to do with Donna.
Yeah.
You know, and I left her, and I loved her, and I left her, and I feel like, you know, you can never go home again.
Absolutely. But would you want to?
Unless, of course, anyone asked, and then I'd be there.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm joking. You know, I suspect not, but the thing is, you just never know.
This is it. Absolutely.
You just never know what conversation's being had.
I'm just looking at time. We are nearly out of time, but I wanted to ask you what Nan would have made of this interview and what she would have thought of it and what advice she'd give me for the future.
All this acting technical difficulties we had. I mean, I was waiting in that lobby 45 minutes staring at a screen that said waiting for guest.
I think we better cut her off there because she was going to say something.
If you got any younger viewers, that's brilliant. Caterine Tate, what a delight!
Thank you so much, Reese. It's been really lovely.
I loved
it. Thank you.
I can't wait to see you next. Hopefully, it'll be face to face.
No, wouldn't that be lovely? I'd love to come to Telford/Wales. God, Telford.
We would love to have you back.
Got a bit bigger, and they might have incorporated Telford back into it.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back. Please do come back.
I will. Wherever they are, I will be there. And I would like to wish everyone a happy holiday.
Yeah, happy holidays to you as well. Thank you so much. So you're watching Wales Comic Con Live. We're raising funds for Mind, the charity helping us towards better mental health. And boy, do we all need that at the moment through this COVID situation. I'm Dr. Rhys Jones. I've been in conversation with the wonderful Caterine Tate. You didn't need me to tell you that, did you? Still more to come. Wales Comic Con Live. See you soon.